There are 32 teams set to compete at the up-and-coming Budapest Major. But what if this tournament was turned on its head? Back in 1.6, there was a huge tournament called the World Cyber Games. It was a tournament that was as prestigious as a major, but with a catch. Every team that competed had to be fully national. Well, mostly. Today, I will be reviving this long-forgotten tournament with all of the players of today. A Counter-Strike 2 World Cyber Games. 24 teams from 24 countries will be placed into this tournament, and after that, we will throw them into a single elimination bracket to the death. But before that, let's get a look at every single team. On stream, we built each of these national teams mostly using the metric of stats in 2025 against top 20. Of course, the IGL position was not decided by this. We instead used our brains, of course. But by mostly using rating for a lot of these players, it was the easiest way to deal with just as little bias as possible. Of course, I can always guarantee people are still going to be upset about some of these team compositions, but alas, it is what it is. It is what it is. Now, along with using these ratings for the most part, there were some instances where I decided to just put certain players in, just mostly because of name value. At the end of the day, using tier 1 players is just going to be more interesting. So stats versus top 20 are up here, and then I'd say name value is like right here. Another thing I want to add is the roles on these teams. We kind of didn't really worry about them, at least for the trio of riflers. I don't really care if you're an opener, an anchor, a closer. I just need 3 riflers, an IGL, and an AWPer. That's about it. So roles were not taken super seriously when making these teams. Then after every single team was built, I had the people of the Garmour Discord rank every single team from 1 to 10, and then the averages of those rankings will determine the seeds of every single team. Let's get into it from lowest seed to highest seed. Farmlings, oh boy, do I have some news for you. Looking to upgrade your current inventory with instant trades, lower prices than Steam, all with a giant selection of over 1 million skins to choose from? Check out today's sponsor, CS Money. Along with their instant trade feature, if you just want to buy some new skins straight up, there are various deposit methods such as card, PayPal, and crypto. Looking to get out of the skins game completely? Don't worry, CS Money also offers an instant selling feature. Recently, they even increased the prices on user skins, meaning as of today, you can sell your skins at a better price and receive even more cash. With this cash, you can instantly turn around and buy more skins or cash this balance out to your bank. You can check them out today by clicking the link in the description. Thank you to CS Money for sponsoring, and back to the video. The lowest ranked team that we have starting us off is the Czech Republic team. Their IGL is a 27-year-old by the name of Beestick. He's the current caller for Sinners, who are the number 48 ranked team on VRS rankings, and their peak is number 45. They're a fairly solid team in tier 2, but compared to the competition, Beestick is definitely one of the weaker callers here. And since Sinners is a tier 2 team, he doesn't really have any stats against top 20 teams this year. So instead, I will use his LAN stats because this tournament will be played on LAN. On LANs in 2025, Beestick has a 1.09 rating. Not too bad for a caller. The AWPer for Team Czech, we had to stretch the rules a little for this one, but we had to put him in because he is the GOAT. We have 34-year-old prodigy Oscar. He has played no LANs in 2025. He's basically retired at this point, but we brought him right back out. This year, he has a 1.07 rating, and I'm sure if he has to, he can turn back the clock. Now, maybe the most well-known player on this entire team is the young rifler for Gamer Legion PR. He's pretty much gonna have to hard carry this roster if they have any chance. This year in 2025, he has a 1.10 rating against top 20 teams, so very good. And then the other 2 riflers are 2 people you may have heard of if you pay attention to tier 2, as we have Shock and Forzy. Forzy currently plays for the number 1 ranked team in Czech Republic in Eclot. Forzy on LAN in 2025 has a 1.15 rating. It is against mostly tier 2, tier 3 teams, but still very good nonetheless. And Shock is a teammate of Beestick on Sinners. Shock in 2025 has played 5 opponents in the top 20, and guess what his rating is? A 1.37. He might be the secret GOAT, okay, of Czech Republic. When we go over to LAN, he does only have a 1.07, and he's played no top 20 teams on LAN in 2025, but, you know, the online games are enough for me. The 23rd seed in this tournament is Team Romania. They are led by a legend, a GOAT. 36-year-old BTN, who has a 0.81 rating in 2025, but it goes up to a 0.88 on LAN, and he's currently the IGL for the number 1 team in all of Romania, Nexus. I just want you guys to know, BTN has been on Nexus since July of 2016. He's almost been an active player in this organization for an entire goddamn decade. He should have the experience we need. Next is, of course, AWPer for FlyQuest, Regali, and in 2025, against top 20 teams, he does only have a 0.99, but listen guys, how much of that is his fault and how much of that is FlyQuest getting blown out? I'll let you decide. The first rifler we have is Ima from Navi. In 2025 against top 20 teams, he has a 1.07 rating and should be a huge help in secondary calling to BTN. I mean, listen guys, we got a major winner on the Romania lineup, okay? That's worth something. The next rifler we have is maybe a more underrated but still very dangerous Romanian rifler in Lawn X. He's currently playing for but with the old Navi Academy team. He currently has a 1.14 rating in 2025, which does unfortunately go down to a 1 rating on LAN. But he recently beat FaZe at CAC and posted a 1.15 rating. Interesting. The last rifler we have on this team is Volt. You guys remember Volt? He was on Gamer Legion for like 2 years, and as of today, he is playing for 500. So, you know, are his teammates walling? I don't really know, but they could be. Now, listen, get this. He's played 3 maps in 2025 against a top 20 team, and he boasts a 1.48 rating. Maybe Volt is also a demon. The 22nd seed is Team Australia. For the IGL, we decided to go with Inns instead of Dexter. So far in 2025, Inns has a 0.9 rating against top 20 teams. Moving on. The Opper is, of course, Alistair. I mean, this guy's an animal. As always. In 2025 on LAN, he has a 1.16 rating. I will not answer who it's against.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Now, the first rifler we have for the Australian team is someone who you might actually not know. It's a man by the name of ASAP. He played for Team Rooster for like 3 years, and now he's playing with Alistair and Dexter on Thunder Down Under. He seems to be a pretty good player in Tier 2 Australia. In 2025, he has a 1.25 rating. On LAN, he has a 1.21, and he does have 4 maps against top 20 teams, but I refuse to share that information. The next rifler we have is current rifler for FlyQuest, Vexite. In 2025 on LAN, he has a 1.0 rating against top 20 teams. Considering how bad FlyQuest normally is against pretty good teams on LAN, that's really not that horrible. And lastly, of course, we have JKS. He has a 0.97 rating on LAN against top 20, so a little bit worse than Vexite, but you know, JKS is a legend. I'm sure he'll be fine. And you might be asking yourself, where's Netic? Don't get it twisted. Unfortunately, we cannot have Netic on this team because he's from New Zealand, okay? And New Zealand is not Australia. I don't care how close they are. You're not Australia, buddy. The 21st seed is Team Latvia. In an IGL, we have a fucking goat by the name of Keen. If you've seen my Counter-Strike Free Agents video, you know of this man. He is absolutely fucking yoked, and he's currently calling for Semperfi, which is an Australian team ranked 108th in the world in Valve rankings. So, you know, I'm not exactly sure how good he is as a caller, but he's here. In 2025 on LAN, he has a 1.04 rating. And as the team's offer, you probably know who it's gonna be. We got Brokey. In 2025 against top 20 teams, he has a 1.0 rating. So if this team's gonna do anything, we need Bro to do a little better than that. The fuck? The first rifler is, of course, Yakinder. Yakinder is going to have to hard carry the fuck out of this team, I'm realizing. In 2025, he has a 1.10 against top 20 teams, and we're going to need all of it if this team is going to get out of the first round. Now, the next rifler actually might be a gem. His name is Shadi, I think is how you say it. He plays on the same team as Keen, and actually on LAN in 2025, he has a 1.18 rating. So, I mean, honestly, like, this guy could potentially be a freak. It is like Tier 2 Australia that he's playing in. And lastly, there is approximately 4 players from Latvia. So our 5th rifler is someone by the name of Shield. And if you know Shield, you might be saying that doesn't make any sense because he currently plays for Fireflux and is their opper. So here's the deal, okay? This gives Team Latvia some flexibility on the CT side. Sometimes they can double op if they're playing on like Dust 2 or something. We're transitioning Shield into a rifler for the most part. Yeah, he's gonna have to be a rifler. In 2025, he has a 1.09 rating. He hasn't played a LAN, so you know, we'll have to see how he does. In at number 20, we have a team that I actually thought would be ranked quite a bit higher than this. We have Portugal. Everyone knows IGL Muterus. This team is basically just the Saw Core plus U-Jerks and Arisdose. Sorry to get the spoiler out of the way, but Muterus might be one of the most underrated IGLs in the scene right now. So like behind him, this team could do some work. Of course, the opper is Story. He has a 1.08 in 2025. It does unfortunately drop to a 0.99 against top 20. We have Agile from Saw as well. He has a 1.0 rating against top 20 teams. U-Jerks has a 0.95 against top 20, and Arisdose a 0.92. Honestly, you probably could make an argument just to keep Saw's original roster and not even add U-Jerks and Arisdose because they have not been great since they've left. But I do believe if they did rejoin Saw draw, Muterus would be able to revive them, and that's kind of what we're banking on here. In at number 19, we have Germany, and Germany is kind of an interesting one. I pretty much just squished M80 and Big together. The IGL is Sin. Jury's still kind of out on how good Sin is as a caller, but I mean, I'd rather have him than the Academy player on Big and honestly Tab Sin calling. In 2025 against top 20, he does have a 0.92 rating, but you know, if he's the IGL, it is what it is. For the Opera, we have Slacks, who dominates in tier 2 with a 1.19 rating, but against top 20, that does fall to a 1. But I mean, at this point in time, I would rather have Slacks than probably any other Opera in Germany. Then the Rifling Corps consists of JDC, who has a 0.94 against top 20, Tabsin, who has a 0.95 against top 20, and Crimbo, who is currently benched on Big, who has a 0.98 against top 20. So basically, against top 20, every single player on this team falls off. But listen, here's the good news, okay? We can have Sin calling, Tabsin secondary calling. He has a lot of experience, you know, and then I think Slacks, JDC, and Crimbo at points can be good. In at number 18, we have Team United Kingdom. Their IGL is Thomas. Those who remember Into the Breach Paris Major, he's a fucking goat. Currently, he plays on Nemesis and has a 1.09 in 2025. The Opera for Team UK, you guys could probably guess it. It just has to be Smooya. There's just truly no one else. Like, Smooya's not that bad. He has a 1.18 on land in 2025. So, like, personality issues aside, showers aside, fragging-wise, he should be at least decent.
Come pick me, I dare you! Come to me!
Mezzi in 2025 is a 1.07. He's just going to be the GOAT of this team, okay? The other rifler we have is the recently benched Cypher. I will be rooting for this team just because of him alone. In 2025, he has a 0.92 against top 20 teams, but ignore that. And the last rifler we have on Team UK is a Zuwu. He had that short stint on Saw where he was fine. Currently, he plays for Monty. And in 24 maps versus top 20 teams, he has a 0.88 rating. In at number 17, we have Team Kazakhstan. The IGL for this team is going to be Duke Fajura of Team Hotu, who recently actually went on a pretty good run at EPL Season 22. So maybe he's kind of a hidden gem caller. He has a 0.95 against top 20 in 2025. The Opper and the man who is going to have to put this team on his back. Future Budapest major winner, Molodoy, who has a 1.12 against top 20 teams in 2025. And I mean, like I said, he is going to have to be an absolute freak. He's going to have to be prime simple on this team. But if he is, maybe they can go on a run. And then the three riflers, you know, when we were making this team, we stretched a little bit because Kazakhstan just has 47 oppers and no one else. So we decided to take Khan from Namiga, Alkaren from Heroic. You guys are now riflers. Sometimes on CT, if we need a triple op, fucking go ahead, fellas. But I mean, like, Khan is a solid player for Namiga. He is a 0.98 against top 20. Alkaren, a 1.02 against top 20. And the last rifler we have is the GOAT, Hobbit. Hobbit still got it, man. In 2025, he's got a 1.10 on land. We also had Kickert as an option, but give me the upside with Khan or Alkaren over Kickert at this point of his career. In at number 16, we have Team Finland, and pretty much Team Finland is just gonna have to let Alexi B do his magic. He's gonna be the caller for this team. Rating doesn't matter, okay? He won a major with Navi, made a major final with Ents. If all the boys on Team Finland let Alexi B just lock in and implement his system, maybe they'll have a chance. Because I do still think Alexi B is a very good caller, despite how Navi has looked throughout a majority of this year. And I mean, he's surrounded by all young players, so maybe a new age Ents could possibly happen here. The opera for the team is going to be Pody, who's actually pretty solid on Ents so far. He has a 1.05 against top 20 teams, which considering how mediocre Ents is, really isn't that bad. Then the first rifler is of course Jimmy from Mouse. Jimmy's got a 104 against top 20 teams in 2025. He has taken a bit of a step back, it seems like this year, but I don't really blame him entirely for that. I feel like the new Sphinx edition has kind of made it weird for him. So I do still believe in the ceiling that he has shown earlier on in his career. And alongside of Jimmy, we have someone who you have probably never heard of. Teammate on Fireflux to Shield, Banjo. He is a 21-year-old rifler who in 2025 has posted a 1.11 rating. Hasn't played a LAN this year, hasn't played a top 20 team this year, but you know, Finland's only got so many players, so we just gotta take a flyer. And then for the last rifler to close out Team Finland is Maitzi. He's another player for Ents, and in 2025 against top 20 teams, he has a 0.87 rating. So he hasn't looked great so far, but you know, maybe Alexi can whip him into shape. Who really knows? In its seed number 15, we have Team Slovakia. For IGL, it's a bit scuffed. We just decided to throw Sticko in as the caller. You know, Sticko's a good player, man. He won trophies for Mouse. He's been around the block. He's got enough experience. We'll just let him call. I think he's mostly retired now. I'm not really sure if he's wanting to play for a team, but we're pulling him out of retirement for this. Along with the offer for the team, Guardian. Guardian's the GOAT, okay? I gotta pull him out of retirement for this. You know, he's kind of the only option we have, but it's also Guardian. I don't care if he's 34 years old. I think he can roll back the years on this team. And he actually did play a little bit in 2025. You know, he posted a 1.0 rating, but if you look at this rifling core, a 1.0 rating might just be enough. The first rifler we have is Maddie's from G2, and he has a 1.11 rating against top 20 teams this year. Maddie's has been a fucking animal on G2 so far, and I think he'll be a very good asset for Team Slovakia. And the rifler who will be right next to him is Frozen from FaZe. He has a 1.15 against top 20 teams this year. The rifling duo of Maddie's and Frozen is honestly going to do God's work for this roster. And then to close it out, we have a tier 2 rifler that a lot of you might not know by the name of Mikey. He currently plays for Unity and has been pretty solid. In 2025, he has a 1.19 rating on LAN. So who knows, maybe he's a gem. I think he trialed for OG as well earlier this year. I think Team Slovakia at face value might seem scuffed, okay? We had to bring 2 old heads out of retirement, but this rifling trio is kind of nasty. They could be a sleeper team and maybe do work. You know, we'll have to see. Then in at 14, we have Team Poland, and this might be a little bit controversial. The IGL for Team Poland is going to be Suhei. If you're mad that it's not Snacks, grow up. What are you, 8 years old? Listen, I know Suhei hasn't been insane on Team Liquid. I just don't care. Have you guys seen Team Liquid over the past 5 years? Who are you going to blame more for their failures, okay? Suhei, who was great on Gamer Legion and Mouse, seemingly just becomes bad after joining a team that's been bad for 5 years? Or, you know, are you going to blame Liquid? I still think Suhei's got it, and if he's on a Polish team, I think he can re-lock in. The offer for Team Poland is, of course, Suhei's current teammate, Ultimate. It was pretty much just between Ultimate and Hades, and Ultimate's just been better against top 20 teams, so I'm going to give it to him. In 2025, he has a 1.01 rating, and sometimes when he is at his peak, he looks like a monster. He's just very inconsistent. And then the rifling core for Team Poland is extremely young and has a ton of potential. We'll just have to see if they actually put it all together. The first rifler is X Kapersky from NIP. In 2025, he has a 1.08 rating against top 20 teams and kind of easily looks like that team's best player. What? Then after him, we have Jacob, who is currently playing on FaZe. He has a 1.0 rating against top 20 teams and hasn't really looked great since joining FaZe, but I kind of blame that more on just FaZe being a dumpster fire and him playing in bad roles. I think Jacob still has a ton of potential to put in the right situation, and I think Suhei can do that for him. And then last, and probably least, but you know, who knows? We have Cjot, who is currently playing on 9, but maybe he isn't the worst player here because he does have a 106 against top 20 teams this year. And I mean, I do remember him dropping 40 kills on M80. I just can't get it out of my mind. Overall, I really actually don't hate this Poland team, and they could be maybe a sleeper team going into this tournament. We'll just have to see if Suhei can lock in these fellas like he did the fellas on Gamer Legion and Mouse. And if he can, I mean, that rifling core is just horrifying. Then in at 13, we have Spain. And I mean, Spain is just, they're just gentle mates. I probably don't need to talk about them that much. But the IGL is Alex. You know, Alex has been around the block. He had that stint at NIP. But he overall seems like a very solid caller. The offer for the team is Martinez, and you could argue to put Sun Pius in instead of him. I just decided to keep Martinez because him and Sun Pius's ratings are fairly similar this year. And he's already on gentle mates with the team. They already got team chemistry. I'm just going to leave it as is. And then you have the rifling trio of Mopaz, Sawsoul, and David. I'm just gonna call him David. Against top 20, their best rifler is Sawsoul with a 102, then David with a 0.99 and Mopaz with a 0.96. So far, Gentle Mates is gonna be the only team coming in here with full team chemistry already. So while they might not be the strongest team on paper here, they do definitely have that advantage at the very least. All right, Smellies, new fit. It's a different day. Listen, you guys would be amazed at how long it takes to be the GM of 24 teams. But we're back, and in at the 12th seed, we have Team Canada. The IGL for Team Canada is going to be Stanislaw from Wildcard. To be fair, he's pretty much the only option we have as a caller, but I mean, he's not a bad one. He's won 6 trophies throughout his career, and I do still think he's got a little bit of juice left in the tank. But the main issue with Team Canada is we don't have an opper, okay? If you're Canadian and you know how to op, become a professional, because there is quite literally none. But for the riflers, we of course have Twist, who is currently playing on FaZe. At this current point, Twist is easily one of the best players in the world. He played out of his mind on Liquid. He's playing out of his mind on FaZe. And unfortunately, it's just horrendous situations on both teams. And he just wasn't able to hard carry either to relevancy. But maybe he can on Team Canada. In 2025, he has a 1.15 rating against top 20 teams. He's easily this team's best player. And of course, along with him, we have his old Liquid teammate, Naf. Naf has been a GOAT for years and years and years. Played a little bit worse this year. He has a 0.93 against top 20 teams in 2025. But over the past 3 months, he's been slightly more locked with a 1.0 rating. So at least he's like in more decent form now. And then along with them, we have Hext from M80. Hext has been in tier 2 NA for a long time, and he's a very solid player. I don't know how he'll do against teams at this tournament because against top 20, he does have a 0.94. But against tier 2 NA competition, he does have a 1.16 in 2025. So maybe he can step it up against better teams, against national teams. And then in at the last rifler, we literally had no other options. So yeah, we just threw in Fang. Fang has not played for a team since June of 2025, but we're bringing him back for this because we really don't have anyone else. Originally, we were going to make Fang the AWPer, but we might just go with 2019 Liquid, not have an AWPer, just have all riflers. And I mean, in tier 2, Fang does have a 1.18 in 2025. He's kind of like Hext. We'll see how they do on this team with Stanislaw. Due to my audience being mostly NA, I think this team was boosted like crazy. I can't believe they are the 11 seed, but maybe they just got some juice that I'm not seeing. In at number 11, we have Team USA. Their IGL is Nitro, who is currently playing for NRG. NRG is pretty good. Like, they kind of dominate in tier 2 NA. They win pretty much every LAN they go to. That is kind of struggle against top 20 teams at real tournaments, but I still think Nitro's got a little bit of juice. Unfortunately, our next player I do not think has any juice, and that is Junior. I mean, like, we all know the story of Junior, man. It was pretty much him or Zodic from NRG, and like, I guess we take the chance on Junior, like, even though we've seen over and over again he dominates in tier 2 and just can't play against tier 1 teams. In 2025, he has a 1.2 rating, but that falls to a 1.07 on LAN, so you know. But where this team shines is the rifler trio. Of course, first we have Elige. Elige is one of the NA GOATs, and in 2025 he has a 1.08 rating against top 20 teams. Next to him we have Grim, who has been playing out of his fucking mind this year. And lastly, we have Lake from M80, who has posted a 1.03 against top 20 teams. So I mean, I guess when you look at their stats against top 20, it does make sense why this team would be ranked higher than Canada. Listen, maybe they got something that I'm just not seeing. In at number 10 we have China. I think this is mostly just due to Jam Young and G Glaze, but unfortunately there is no G on this team. We pretty much just combined Tai Lu and Lin Vision together, but unfortunately Zacher for the most part just puts up better numbers than G does. He might be one of the more underrated AWPers in this scene. He has a 102 against top 20 teams in 2025, so nothing insane, but the eye test, bro. Don't forget the eye test. In at the IGL, we have Mercury from Tai Lu. Of course, Jam Young from Tai Lu is the first rifler. He has kind of fallen off recently, but he's still an incredible talent. He has a 1.08 against top 20 teams this year. The next rifler we have is Mozia, also from Tai Lu. He has a 106 against top 20 teams this year, which is honestly better than I thought he was doing. And then the last rifler we have is Starry from Lin Vision. He has a 0.99 against top 20 teams, but he's a demon in tier 2, so don't even sweat it. Next up, in at number 9, we have Team Sweden. Of course, the leader for that team is going to be Brolin from Mouse. Maybe one of the most surprisingly good moves that I've ever seen is Brolin replacing Suhei as the caller. I do not think Buddy had it in him, but he's proved himself at this point, and it really just can't be anyone else. Like, you can maybe argue ZTR, I guess, but it was always going to be Brolin. Then next, as the AWPer, you have Fuzi, who is currently AWPing for Wildcard. I'd say Fuzi is easily Wildcard's best player. He has a 106 against top 20 teams in 2025. But in my opinion, where this team actually kind of shines is its rifler trio. I think Sweden might have the biggest sleeper rifling trio of any team at this tournament. For starters, we of course have Rez from Gamer Legion. He is a 1.09 against top 20 teams this year. He has been incredibly good. But then next to him is Nilo from Heroic. Nilo hasn't been like anything incredible so far this year, but he does have a 1.05 against top 20 teams. And of course, we've seen what he can do in tier 2. And the last rifler on the team is Spook from OG. And I know a lot of you probably don't watch OG since they're a tier 2 team, but Spook is damn good, man. Let me tell you what. So far this year, he has a 1.06 against top 20 teams. And if you look at his overall lane rating, he has a 1.15. Throughout this entire year, Spook has been probably the biggest bright spot on that OG team. And I think he's going to cook with Team Sweden here. Next up at number 8, we have Team Israel. I'm sure this team is going to have a lot of fans, but the main problem with Team Israel is we have 5 very good riflers. That's it. Don't have a caller. Don't have an opper. We're just fucking pugging every game we play, okay? We got Spinks, we got Nerds, we got Heavy God, we got Flames, and we got Zershin. I feel like I don't need to go too in-depth with any of these players. You guys know all of them. We're just running out a Ram Mirage every round, okay? We don't really got any thoughts, but maybe all of these players are good enough to where it simply won't matter. In as the 7 seed, we have Team Ukraine. The IGL, and I know he isn't calling anymore, but he has shown a very impressive ability to do it, is NPL. He has a 1.10 rating against top 20 teams this year, which is incredibly impressive while playing for a team like Bait and while calling for a majority of the year. He's easily going to be one of the stronger pieces of this roster. And then as the opper, there was genuinely an argument for this. I know Simple is tearing it up in tier 2, but against top 20 teams, Simple does only have a 1.03 rating. So there was an argument for other players like Jambo or Wonderful, but I still went with Simple just because of name value. It's fucking Simple. Like I said, he doesn't have an insane rating against top 20 teams, but he also hasn't really played that many. He only has 16 maps this year against them, and since he's joined BC Game, he's posted a 1.24 rating, so I'm just gonna go with the simple upside here. Then as our first rifler, we have Bit from Navi. He has a 1.08 rating against top 20 teams. He's easily the strongest rifler we have in the Ukrainian roster. Then after him, this was a late change. Originally, when I had people voting for the teams, I didn't have this guy in, but I made a change just because of name value mostly. Anyways, the second rifler, we have Zontix, who is currently benched on Team Spirit. Against top 20 teams this year, he has a 1.05 rating, and he's simply one of the best anchors in the world. Him and Bit are going to be locking down parts of the map like you have never seen before. And then is the last rifler, a sleeper that some of you might not know, but an absolute freak nonetheless. We have Dowie from Team Inner Circle. In 2025, he has a 1.11 rating against top 20 teams. Out of NPL, Simple, Bit, and Zontix, this is the motherfucker who has the best rating against top 20 teams. And it's not a ton of maps, but it's not like it's one series. He's played 21 maps against top 20 teams. He went 34-12 and dropped a 2.3 rating against Mongols. This guy is just a freak, okay? He is incredibly good. And I mean, shit, if we're talking like real life, Dowie is absolutely a contender to be Rookie of the Year next year if he gets signed by a tier 1 team. But of course, for that, we'll have to wait and see. In at number 6, we of course have Turkey. It's just the Aurora roster. I'm not going to make any crazy changes here. You could maybe argue to throw Xflout in here instead of someone like Joda, but I'm just going to keep the team chemistry together. They're already a very good team as it is, so they're going to do very well at this national tournament. And I feel like overall there's not that much to be said. You of course have Major as the IGL, Woxic is the Opper, Zontaras is the Star Rifler, Wakadia can pop off, and of course Joda. This team is going to be good. Then in at number 5, I'm actually kind of surprised how highly this team ranked, is Team Denmark. At IGL, we of course have Kerrigan, and I know people are going to say, oh, Kerrigan is washed. Oh, Kerrigan is a human meat shield. You should have done Hooksy instead. And while all of this might be true, it's still Kerrigan at the end of the day. I'm going to make him the IGL of Team Denmark. You just can't talk me out of it. As the opper, we of course have Device. He has a 1.04 against top 20 teams this year. Is he slightly washed? Yes, it's not a prime Device on this team, but still a very good, solid opper nonetheless. Then for the rifling core, we of course have Blame F, who has a 1.11 against top 20 teams this year. He's honestly probably going to be the strongest player on this entire Denmark team. Then after him, we have Shush from NIP. He has a 1.06 against top 20 teams this year. He'll be an incredibly solid anchor for us. And then as the last rifler, we have Stare from Astralis. He has a 1.06 against top 20 teams and recently moved into star roles for Astralis. So I think Stare is going to do a great job with this team. And you might be thinking like, oh, where's Tessez? Honestly, you could probably make an argument for Tessez to replace Shush. But this was one of the teams where we just went with the raw numbers. I know Tessez has been playing in weird roles, so you can argue like that's why his numbers would be lower than Shush's against top 20. But, you know, I'm just letting the numbers pick the team. In at number 4, we have the French team. You, of course, know who the IGL and the opper is going to be. We got Apex as the IGL and probably the #1 player of the year in Zaiwu as the opper. It really gets interesting when we get to the rifling trio. The first player we have is Nightiu from Ents. So far this year, he has a 1.04 against top 20 teams. And overall, he's been one of Ents's better, more promising players, I would say. And then we, of course, have the duo of Lucky and Exorcise from 3D Max. I feel like this one doesn't really matter that much. Like, you could replace one of them with Gravity if you really wanted to.
Oh! Tu prends la souris, tu cliques. Tu cliques.
But at the end of the day, against top 20 teams, Exorcist and Lucky just have the best rating, so I went with them. We'll have to see if this rifling trio can hold up their end of the bargain, or if this is mostly going to have to be an Apex Zywoo masterclass. In at number 3, we have the Brazilian team. Of course, the IGL is going to be Fallen. There is just really not a question there. As the Opera, we have NQZ from Pain. So far this year, he has a 1.05 against top 20 teams. Really, honestly, not bad at all. Then as the first rifler, and quite literally like playing like a top 5 player in the world right now, is Cacerado. So far this year, he has a 1.16 against top 20 teams. After him, we have Lado from Legacy. Lado's been playing out of his fucking mind this year on Legacy, as he's posted a 1.12 against top 20 teams so far this year. And I can't believe I'm saying this. Probably the worst rifler on this team is Insani, who has a 1.06 against top 20 teams. But of course, if you ever watch MIBR play, it's obvious that Insani is an absolute freak. So if he is the worst rifler you have, you're probably in a pretty good situation. This Brazilian team is going to be an absolute tank going into this bracket. In at number 2, and I'm not going to go too deeply into this team, is Russia. You knew Russia was going to be up here with the insane talent they have from that region. Probably the hardest part of this team was who the IGL was going to be. It was really between Chopper, Boomich, and Jame. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the best option to me out of everyone on that list, I guess, is Jame. Chopper stock is down in the dumps. I'm not super high on Boomich. And I know Jame stock is also kind of down after his time in VP, but I'd rather just move Jame to a rifler and have his system with these insane players. Then, of course, as the Opera, you have Monacy from Falcons. This country is so insane because you literally can do Monacy or Shiro, and it's not really going to be a wrong choice, I wouldn't think. Both of them are beasts, but we just decided to go with Monacy on this one. Then you have the rifling duo of Donk and Kiyosuke. Monacy, Donk, Kiyosuke is going to do fucking work with this team. And as a little bonus, as the last rifler, you might say, oh, throw in Flit. We threw in Norbert, because Norbert's a goat. Well, I don't know what more I need to say. And of course, in at number 1 is Team Mongolia. It just makes sense. Before the Senzu benching, they were easily the best national team in the world. And here, we just kind of brought Senzu back from the bench. We have the old Mongols roster here, not the one with Controlas. And due to Mongols already being a top team, due to them already having team chemistry, they're of course going to easily be the favorites at this tournament. Now, after going through every single team and setting up the bracket, here's how the tournament is gonna go. Obviously, this is all theoretical. We can't actually make these teams and have them play in matches. But what we can do is gamble. My favorite thing. I'm gonna give every single team a percentage chance to win based on their overall ranking. And every single overall is gonna be the equivalent of 10%. So for example, if Spain and Canada play in round 1, with Canada's overall ranking being a 5.65 and Spain's being a 5.08, I would round up Canada to 6 and Spain to 5. Then due to Canada's being 6, they would have a 60% chance to win and Spain a 40. Canada gets that 10% boost to being ranked 1 higher. I'm then gonna switch between using a wheel and a random number generator just so I don't get bored. Of course, whatever team the wheel picks is what team is going to move on. But for the random number generator, it's a little more complicated. What I'm going to do is take the team with the higher percentage chance to win and just subtract that from 100. Then anything higher than that number is a win for that team. So for example, going back to Spain and Canada, since Canada has a 60% chance to win, if the random number generator is a 41 or higher, that means Canada would win. A 39 or lower, Spain would win. And if it is right down the middle at 40, that means we've gone to overtime and we have to spin again. Did that all make sense? Every game is a BO1, and then in the finals, we will have a BO3. Due to there not being a perfect number of teams for the bracket, every team with a seed 1 to 8 has a first round bye, which I think is a fair advantage if your roster is going to be that much stronger. But anyways, let's get into the tournament. We went through the first round of the tournament, and honestly, the results were kind of what you would expect. First, you have Kazakhstan versus Finland. That game was a 50-50 on who would win, but listen, Kazakhstan got Moldoy in his prime right now, so they beat Finland, and they move on to play Team Mongolia next. Moldoy is gonna have to turn into prime simple if they're gonna win that shit. Next, we had Sweden versus Czech Republic, and honestly here, Czech had like no chance. With the ranking, Sweden had a 70% chance to win, and they ended up pulling through. Sorry, PR, it is what it is. Next, we had Latvia versus Canada. Canada was also a huge favorite in this game, having a 70% chance to win, and Twist and the boys would end up pulling through. Then you have Spain versus Portugal, which I think that's a grudge match for you fellas, isn't it? And well, it would end up being neck and neck. Both teams had a 50% chance to win, but Spain just has better team chemistry at the moment. It seems like bringing the old Saw players back into the Portugal lineup with Muteris didn't work out, man. I mean, there must be some beef there still. Next, we had Germany versus Poland.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
This game was also a toss-up. It was a 50-50. And I mean, you know, maybe we should have brought snacks in instead of Suhei because Poland got cooked. It must have been a Tabson masterclass. There's just no other way. Then next we had USA versus Australia. I was pulling for my boys hard here. I wanted them to win so badly. And they had a 70% chance to win. So if there was ever a time for a team to throw, it would be my USA team with a 70% chance. But they pulled through, okay? Australia, Alistair, he got sunned by Junior. I mean, it's just because Junior's the GOAT. I don't know what they were supposed to do. Then we had Romania versus China. Ima versus Jam Young. And unfortunately, Jam Young is just the fucking GOAT. China would pull through. And it would have been a crazy upset if they didn't. They had a 70% chance to win as well. Then lastly, we had Slovakia versus UK. This one was a toss-up. It was a 50-50. I was pulling for Slovakia because the Maddie's Frozen combo is fucking insane. Even if Guardian is ancient almost to dust, Sticko is 30, retired. But like, I guess the UK isn't that much better off. And Slovakia with the duo of Maddie's and Frozen would pull through. And so we would begin the next round of the tournament. During the next round, things ended up getting a little bit crazier. To start, we had Mongolia versus Kazakhstan. With Mongolia being the powerhouse that they are, they went into this matchup with a 90% chance to win. And as you might expect, they pulled through. It was a good attempt from Molodoy. He just couldn't be prime simple and absolutely carry Kazakhstan over the Mongolian powerhouse. Next, we had Sweden versus Israel. This was a complete toss-up, a 50-50. But at the end of the day, not having an AWPer, not having an IGL, I guess it bit Israel in the ass because Sweden with Brolin pulled through. The sleeper rifling trio of Rez, Nilo, and Spook, they locked the fuck in, man. Next, we had Denmark versus Canada. Denmark was slightly favored in this matchup with a 60% chance to win, and it would end up being enough. Twist could not power Canada over the Kerrigan device-led Danish team. After that, we had Spain versus France. France being one of the tank lineups of this event, Spain was gonna have to lock the fuck in to win this, and I mean, they just couldn't do it. France had an 80% chance to win, and it just was too much. Then we had Brazil versus Germany. Brazil came into this tournament as the 3 seed, one of the favorites to win. Brazil had an 80% chance to win, and somehow, someway, Tabson and Germany upset Brazil. In Brazil's first game, they lost. I don't know what happened to them, man. Maybe the Europeans are doing more work on Furia than we give them credit for, okay? Because this Brazilian team just imploded, I guess. Next, we have USA versus Turkey. It was not looking good for us. Turkey is literally just Team Aurora. They're already a team. They already have the team chemistry, but the power of the Patriots pulled through, man. Turkey came into this with a 60% chance to win, and I don't know what happened on the side of the USA team. It must have been some type of Elige Grim, maybe a Junior masterclass. Maybe Junior is him. I don't know. What I do know is the US upset Team Turkey. Then we had Ukraine versus China. Ukraine had a 60% chance to win this, and I think they're an overall just deeper team than China is, so they would end up pulling through. Then lastly, we had Slovakia versus Russia. I hate to say it, Slovakia just stood no chance here. There was just no way they were gonna pull this upset off. Russia's team is fucking stacked. They had a 90% chance to win this, and they were just not gonna be denied. But after all of that, that leads us to the quarterfinals. The quarterfinals, they were something, man. To start, we have powerhouse Team Mongolia versus Sweden. Mongolia went into this matchup with an 80% chance to win, and of course, the team of Mongols would be too much to overcome. I'm fucking playing, bro. Sweden pulled that upset off. I couldn't believe my eyes. Somehow, Brolin, Fuzi, Rez, Nilo, Spook, they're good, man. They're good. They locked the fuck in and upset Mongols somehow. The favorite to win the entire tournament got knocked out in the quarters. Then after that, we had Denmark versus France. France had a 60% chance to beat Denmark, and those fuckers, Apex and Zaibu, they locked in, and they pulled through. Kerrigan might just be too old at this point, okay? He couldn't pull his team to the final. Next, we had Germany versus the US. Two underdogs who should not be in the quarters at all. The US would go into this with a 60% chance to win, and god damn it, it was a Nitro masterclass. He called circles around those German boys. US moves on to the semis. Then we have Ukraine versus Russia. Russia's team is so fucking stacked. I don't know how anyone in this tournament is going to beat Russia with Mongolia out now. They went into that matchup with a 70% chance to win, and I mean, bro, just the pure firepower was too much. But this leads us now to the semifinals. The semifinals were elite. They were also heartbreaking. To start us off, you have Sweden versus France. France are the heavy favorites going into this, of course, with Zaiwu and Apex being the monsters they are. We rounded France to an 8, Sweden a 6, which gave France a 70% chance to win this matchup. But what the fuck did I tell you, boys? That rifling trio on Sweden, they're demonic. They're absolutely insane, okay? They locked in for this tournament, and Sweden upset France in the semifinals to be our first finalist team of the 2025 World Cyber Games. That shit was cinema. Going down to US versus Russia, the US had an even lower chance to win than Sweden did against France. Russia had an 80% chance to win. 80%. Let me tell you what, that shit was fucking close, okay? Literally, we were like 12 away. 12 numbers away from the US upsetting this evil ass Russian team. But there is still hope. Sweden can beat Russia. It's gonna be tough because it's going to be a best of 3, but I think they can do it. I have faith in them. I think the Rifling Corps can lock in an upset. Since it's a BO3, it's not over if they lose the wheel. We still go to the random number generator, but you gotta go up a map here in the final. They've been good on the wheel so far. I think it's over. Russia takes map 1. You know what? Fuck it. This is going to be Sweden's map pick. I refreshed the page 1 to 100. This is Sweden's map pick. I'm upping their chances to 30%. 31 or higher, Russia wins 2-0. Otherwise, we go to a map 3. It's kind of cheating, but it's their fucking map pick. We're going to a map 3. This is cinema. Let me find another way to randomly select something. Roll a die. Here's what we're going to do for map 3. I'm going to roll a 10-sided die. Unfortunately, for Sweden, map 3, they've got to go back to their 20%. If this is a 1 or a 2, Sweden upsets over Russia. If it's a 3 to a 10, Donk will win his second major, but I'm rooting for Sweden, okay? Here we fucking go. A 1 or a 2, Sweden wins. And so, that ends the 2025 World Cyber Games Major. Donk, Jame, Norbert all get their second major title. Manasi and Kiyosuke get their first major title. Hey, fellas on Sweden, it was close, okay? You were this fucking close to making upset of the year. You were the 9 seed going to this. You should have not even been in the final. It was a generational run, fellas, okay? It was a generational run from you. We have USA in the top 4. France made the top 4. The biggest disappointments, honestly, were just Mongolia and Brazil. I thought surely they would be up there, at least in the top 4, but hey, Sweden locked in. But anyways, that's it for me today, fellas. Bit of a different video from what I normally make, but I had fun. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, liking, subscribing, and notificationing me. And I will see you fellas later.